It's time now to review headlines on today's newspapers. Of course, we don't have the Ombudsman in with us today, so we're going to be filling in as best as we can for Mr. KKK.
Yes, we miss KK for the Sunday tonic, yes. But we'll proceed, as always, starting with this day on Sunday. Let's take it from top to bottom. The window story says, at NDA, Tinubu demands stronger military response to security threats. Yet another demand, isn't it? Because that's what we've been getting on a weekly basis. Let's hope that they will hearken to the voice of the president and do the needful. Stronger military response is certainly needed, and let's hope that the NSA, that's his title, Malanuri Badu, will also, he's been having series of meetings, as we learned, with different stakeholders. Let's just hope that things will improve, and this won't be a weekly admonition to those who are supposed to do their job, to do it. Under that window story is a story on page 8, implement aggressive monetary tightening fiscal adjustment measures, IMF tells Nigeria. That's the story that Sunday Telegraph is also leading with, which was part of the question that we asked, post that Professor Medano, implement aggressive monetary tightening fiscal adjustment measures. How much of this can an average Nigerian bear? How much of this can the government of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu implement at a time that in just less than 9 months, people are basically crawling because of the policies? I think that, just like the Professor Medana said, there are experts in Nigeria who should also break these things down. Things might look good on paper, but then can it work here? If you remove all subsidies, who really are you? Are you trying to save money for? Is it not the same people? If the benefits cannot be felt in people's pockets, in people's lives, and people are saying that in terms of their finances, where they are today as compared to where they were last year is far worse, I think that we should have to look at it more deeply and with understanding, so that it doesn't turn out to be to be a war against the people. Under the masthead, Niger Republic restates ban on flights from Nigeria. That is sad, isn't it? Because only yesterday we learned that the president has sent emissaries to the 3 countries, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, those who have exited ECOWAS, with a view to trying to find a lasting solution. But here is Niger talking tough and restating their ban, on flights from Nigeria. We just must find a way to allow diplomacy to prevail, and people should come down on their high horses so that people do not suffer needlessly. Of course, AFCON final is the next story. Tinubu direct maximum support, urges Super Eagles to make Nigeria proud. Shetima leads federal government delegation to Cote d'Ivoire. Cardiac Society warns against overexcitement during the final match.
Very important.
Yesterday, you were not here, Sheito, but we had a doctor from Reddington, and I think that, basically to discuss, this issue, 5 people that we lost, Nigerians, 1 in Abidjan and 4 other in Nigeria during the semi-final match. So practically everybody is saying that if you know that your heart cannot take it, if you're hypertensive, if you have underlying health challenges, be careful. It is not a must that you must watch. Wait till the end of the match and hear the result. If possible, watch the delayed broadcast. And I think that that's an important thing to follow, given the fact that men especially tend to invest a lot of emotions, in it, which is why all the 5 that passed on, no angel was there. I'm sure that the Sheito would just probably sit with a bottle of wine and say,
exactly.
hey,
it's
let
not,
the guys win.
You know,
it's not a do or die.
It's really sad that something so good and something that unites the nation.
Beautiful game
is something that that has led to the death of this man. But of course, that warning against overexcitement during this final match, you know, the tension is high. Like Aaron says, we are at the cusp of excellence and the threshold of the finality of the Super Eagles.
You're speaking like Aaron.
Oh, yes. He has inspired me. Oh, but
is it a disappointment that the president is no longer going? I mean, there was no confirmation due, but then was it the CAF president who said that, he was expecting the Nigerian president to be there and that he will push the request to him that why can't Nigeria bid, to host the FIFA World Cup. But it's obvious now that he's the vice president.
I think it's best for all parties involved that the vice president leads the delegation, Yes.
Why is that?
Let's move on to our next story.
By the way, we should tell the vice president, I've seen it somewhere, on social media, that let him be. It's nice that he's not wearing Babariga, wearing a tracksuit and everything. But let him look for one with green color or green and white. All those, that funny color that he wore the other time. That didn't quite
something
represent.
that shows support for the Super Eagles.
Exactly. I mean, their handlers should have a sense of occasion, and let him represent us well. But I like the fact that he connected well with the players, and I like the way he dances and stuff like that. Yes. Let's hope that Vice President Shettima will have a cause to dance today when we defeat Côte d'Ivoire. The lead story, of course, Macron, Okonjo-Iweala, leaders mourn as Wigwe wife's son, Bimbo Ogunbanjo, die in U.S. crash. I mean, that's also supported by the cover picture of the late Herbert Wigwe, and his wife on the cover there. We've discussed extensively, about this very sad, this very tragic, this very disheartening story. I mean, how weighty can the story be that, such a bright young man at 57 plus, will die in a plane, in a chopper with his wife, with his son, and with another business partner and a friend. It's really sad. But again, our condolences go to
sympathies to the family and loved ones of those, of course, who lost their lives in that terrible tragedy.
Yes.
But moving on now to this day's style. Now we are celebrating one of ours. Honestly, I'm very jealous I was not at this party, but it's fine. I was on the plane back to Nigeria. Ruth Osime, 60 and still making waves. I always run into her after the morning show on Saturdays because she comes on for Perspectives, and I'm always so happy to see her. Oh, such a bundle of joy. She's definitely still making waves and still looking as beautiful and as radiant as ever. Absolutely. She's not a stranger to anyone who would be reading the This Day Style feature today. Ruth Osime's ascent to prominence began long before her editorial leadership at This Day Style. Her insightful contributions to the Sunday publication of the newspaper through her column, if you remember, Truth by Ruth, garnered widespread acclaim at the time, already establishing her as a trusted voice in the media industry, and of course still shaking tables on Perspectives here on Arise News Television. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Ruth.
Never looked better.
I mean, 60 looks good on Ruth Osime, and she more than deserves all the accolades. I'm sure that she had a blast, yesterday, in spite of the sad news of Herbert Wigwe. I mean, there are a number of. I first, saw the dance that she had with Muhabudu, our bosom, close friend, who will also be 60, later, I believe, this year or during in the middle of this year. Muhabudu too will be 60. She's a bestie, of Ruth Osime. I mean, I can reel out names of many media-related people who will be 60 this year. Habib Haruna, former chief press secretary to the former governor of Lagos State, will be 60 in September. I mean, different people who have done very well in their career as media people, who will be celebrating, and we'll be celebrating with them. Congratulations to Ruth Osime. Beautiful in and out, very diligent in what she does.
Definitely.
All right, let's quickly go to Punch, shall we?
Sunday Punch.
Sunday Punch says on the banner cover, "Give us this cup, Nigerians beg Eagles." Ex-players, captain charge, Super Eagles, Nigerian, Ivorian coaches, talk tough. VP leads delegation. We've already discussed all that in detail. But on the window, citizens groan as rice hits 77,000 naira per bag. And that's the picture of President Tinubu there, illustrating the fact that these are the things that he needs to deal with at 77,000 naira. That's unbearable. I mean, that's more than twice, almost thrice the minimum wage, for an average Nigerian worker. It's not good enough. People won't be able to cope in spite of all the theories that we might reel out about, things are not easy even elsewhere. But how will people cope? The reason why we said that we wanted to rule and wanted to be president is to make changes in people's lives. But things are tough, with this. Should we also quickly look at another paper? There's an interesting
story. Nigerians turn to traditional healers as prices of drugs go out of reach. That's another one. That's where we've come to now. And it's a very thin line because, of course, there are traditional remedies that have been proven to work over time. But then people still need to be, careful. I'm a fan of alternative, medicine too. I do not jettison, normal orthodox medicine. And if you look at it from the point of view of, say, a Prince Charles in the UK who has turned to alternative medicine, because of the cancer that he has, you can say that, that's not bad. But if you are now being forced to go traditional because you can no longer afford to go to hospitals, you can no longer afford, to buy drugs, then that's not good enough. It's a sad story on where we are as far as our economy is concerned. You've got a paper there that we can look at in a few seconds before let's see the Sunday Telegraph. Very quickly. The lead story there reads, IMF to the federal government, phase out fuel electricity subsidies completely. Says the federal government has partially reversed fuel subsidy removal. Tinubu and ministers jolted by hardship protest. Opposition planning Jonathan's treatment for president. Interesting. Your advice. Okay, I think I'm just
we'll dealt with that. But I think the Ondo story is also interesting. Aida Tiwa, Jimo Ibrahim, Olushola Oke, go for Brooks, big names in the Ondo state politics. Barrister Jimo Ibrahim, you know him, now a senator of the Federal Republic. He wants, to be the governor of Ondo State. Some of us know how he tried at a time around 2011 when he had to fly in the chopper to go and pick his card, with a few close editors with his former newspaper. But here he is back, bigger, better, and ready to govern Ondo State. How far he can go with a sitting governor, Aida Tiwa, and of course, who's a veteran there. We'll see how that pans out. Well, Jimo Ibrahim sure wants to be governor.
Ondo 2024. I think that's a good place to
end it there.